Hey everybody, Anya here at Our Gabled Home, where I like to share tips for a simple, beautiful, healthy, and sustainable living. And in today's video, I want to show you how you can make really easy bone broth that jiggles, and sometimes people are a little bit mystified as to how to get the most out of the bone broth. Let me show you a recent chicken bone broth that I made, and I've obviously used some off of the top, so you can see how it's actually nice and jellied, and that's usually what we're looking for. Here are my best tips to get the most out of your bone broth. Tip number one, roast your bones. So there's a few ways you can do that. I like to roast my beef bones at 450 degrees Fahrenheit for about 20 minutes, and then I like to turn them and roast them for another 20 minutes on the other side. Recently, this chicken broth that I showed you actually came from a chicken that I made in a clay pot. I'll be linking a recipe below how you can easily roast your chicken in a clay pot. Always comes out super delicious and super moist. So once we got all the meat off the bones, I used the bones to make chicken broth. And so this is a really economical way to get most out of your chicken. You can get a whole chicken. If you can get a chicken with feet, that's even going to be better than chicken without feet, because the feet actually have a lot of the collagen that you want in your bone broth. So once you've roasted your bones, you'll put them in a pot, add water, and you want the water to just about cover the bones. Now obviously that depends on how wide your pot is and how deep your pot is, but usually I think that's a pretty good rule of thumb. Tip number two, using apple cider vinegar. Apple cider vinegar helps draw out the minerals from the bones, and it also adds a little interesting note to the taste. I like to add about somewhere between 2 and 4 tablespoons per broth to my bones. And then you just let that sit for about half an hour so that the apple cider vinegar has a chance to draw out more minerals from the bones. And then I like to add veggie scraps. So this is what I have here. I keep a little Ziploc bag in my freezer, and anytime I peel carrots or potatoes or trim green onions or leeks, you can see I have some tops of the green parts of the green onion that weren't quite so great. I have a little bit of some leek in here. I have onion peels. I have peels of sweet potato, and oops, something fell down, and I had a celery root that I peeled off. So these are all the parts that may not be pretty enough for cooking, or that you are just cutting off the tops of the carrots. And I like to keep this in a Ziploc bag in my freezer, and so every time I make a bone broth, I just add that. They don't have to be pretty, they'll be strained out at the end, so you just get all the goodness from the veggies to the bone broth. And then you can also add like a little handful of peppercorns, a bay leaf, some herbs, all these aromatics. Tip number 3, only simmer at a very low temperature. And let me show you what that simmer looks like. You don't want a roaring boil, because that will destroy your collagen. You just want a very slow simmer where a bubble comes up to the top and another bubble comes up to the top, and that takes a long time. For chicken bones, you want to simmer at least 6 hours, and for beef bones, 48 hours. Now, if you're not comfortable leaving something on your stove for that amount of time, you can do a number of things. So I'm actually okay leaving my gas stove on. Most of the time we're actually home. But if you're not comfortable, if you're leaving the house or at night, you don't want to leave it on, you can just turn it off, and then in the morning, turn it back on. Tip number 4, is to use knuckle bones. You can get the long straight bones, but where most of the collagen is at, like I said, in the chicken feet, in the knuckle bones, oxtail, they will have so much more cartilage and collagen, and you'll be getting that out once you simmer all of that out of the bones. And tip number 5 is use the best bones that you can afford. Now, we like to get bones from animals that have been kept and fed in a pasture, grass-fed, both for beef and for chickens. Obviously, you can get duck bones, you can get pig bones, you can use any bones, you can even use fish bones and make fish broth. But the healthier the animal, the more collagen it will have, and the better for your health, because there won't be any pesticides and any additives in there that you don't want in your diet. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you found it helpful. Please subscribe to my channel if you're new. You can also give me a like, and if you'd like to hop on over to my blog, ourgabledhome.com. You'll find many more tips and recipes, and I look forward to seeing you next time.